shortly be available for boarding through departure gate 28. At this time only, we would like to...
Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to Glasgow Airport at 3 AM on a very wet morning. Why am I here? Good question. It's all to do with Skyscanner. Last week I thought, let's go onto Skyscanner and see if I can find any little deals which I could take advantage of. And I found one to Corfu, and it was with Jet2. And I thought, well, that's all very well, but how am I going to get home? So the following day, there's a TUI flight. That's what I'm catching tomorrow to get home. And then I thought, what about accommodation? Accommodation's always a problem in Corfu in the middle of summer. I found a hotel. Hopefully it's going to be okay. It is only for one night, but I thought that's a plan. I'm on my way to Corfu, and I'm taking you guys along with me as well. So on my Jet2 flight today, I've got a portside window, which means I can look out, and hopefully the most of continental Europe and the Adriatic will be blazing sunshine. Speaking of sunshine, it's going to be dry and 36 degrees Celsius. I'm just saying. So why am I here at 3 AM? Well, I'm here nice and early. When I've got a flight leaving at a stupid old clock, I can't sleep. And it's a case of sitting around the house watching the clock, or I could come here. There's a Greg's, 24/7 they're open. I can dry off a bit, I can have a tea or a coffee, and I can relax, chill baby, and then when I'm ready, I can head in through security to airside. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, taking you guys along with me as well. Let's get inside. Did I mention it was sunny and 36 degrees Celsius there? Not that I'm rubbing it in or anything. And here we are in Corfu. Yeah, it feels like 36 degrees Celsius. Yes, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It took 30 minutes to get through passport control, but that's not a problem. Didn't see as much scenery as I had hoped from the flight because most of Central and Southern Europe was covered in a kind of a haze, so I didn't see too much. It wasn't until we actually descended around Albania I could actually see the coast and actually see something out the window. Right. I'm going to head out of this airport area, then I will tell you what I'm up to. Okay, this is the plan of action. Here's an invisible map. We've got the airport here, we've got the Old Town there, and there is a bus service between the two. But the coast goes around here, and I want to see something on the coast. So instead of going into the town centre and then walking that way, I'm just going to walk straight from the airport to the shore. The great thing about Corfu Airport is the fact that you can walk into the town centre if you want to. It's only about 1.5 miles. It's really quite close to the old town. But where I'm going is about a mile to the east. I should be there in about 10 minutes. I met a couple of subscribers at the airport and they thought I was quite crazy just coming to Corfu for one night. But then when I reminded them of the weather we were leaving behind in Glasgow and what we're expecting here in Corfu, yeah, they could see the sense in it. There's not a lot of sense, mind you, but there's a bit of sense. Now I think 1 night, 2 days, effectively 1.5 days. The flight tomorrow back to Glasgow leaves at something like 9:30 at night, so it's effectively a full day. But I think that's enough time to see the old town. I just walked past someone's open window there and you could smell food wafting out the window. And I remembered it is 12:25 local time. I haven't eaten since about 3 AM this morning, and that was just a croissant at Greg's. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit peckish, but first things first, I need to see what I need to see. Oh, good news, we've made it to the shore. That only took about 10 minutes. I see over there, however, by the fort, my super yacht has been berthed, which is a relief. Okay, it may have crossed your mind to ask what's with the hat. That would be a fair question. Don't forget, I've got a fair complexion. I'm from West Central Scotland. I have to look after myself. And also my factor 50 is at the bottom of my bag somewhere. So I've just chucked this on to keep the sun off my face. It doesn't look that bad, does it? It gives me a kind of a rugged, almost like a Crocodile Dundee look, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe not. Right, what I want to see is just up here. And here we are, that's the windmill. That's kind of the symbol of Corfu. I was showing Sue a picture of it and she said, "Is that it?" I don't know what kind of windmill she was expecting, but it's not bad. And of course the sun's in the wrong place, isn't it? I'm shooting into the sun. But you get the idea. Right, I'm going to go to the end of this jetty, then we're going to head into the old town. Yeah, so a quick geography lesson. There's the fort over there. Not going to see that today, that'll be tomorrow. Over there we've got Albania, and in the water here we've got lots of locals swimming. No tourists, just locals. What a lovely spot. But I'm heading into the old town now for 2 reasons. The first one is to get something to eat because I'm starving, and the second one, I'll be nearby my hotel because check-in is at 3 PM and I plan to go in there, freshen up, have a shower, whatever, and then head out later. But yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit peckish, and I think calamari might be on the menu. In fact, I've already checked out a few places near the hotel, so yeah, I'm hoping maybe calamari for lunch, washed down by one of those beer things. Yeah, so the plan of action is to kind of take it easy today because I've got the full day tomorrow. Flight leaves at 9:30 PM, the full day. But I wanted to see the windmill and that little breakwater now because it's a little bit out of town, but it was close to the airport, so it made sense to see that and take it off the list. I have now been up officially for 25 hours with no sleep, and I do know I'll probably start flaking in about 3 or 4 hours. No shortage of tour buses here. They're everywhere. Mad dogs and Englishmen out in the midday sun. Now I'm not English, so I'm probably a mad dog. Mad Dog Manson, that's my name. You know, I'm thinking, wow, it's really warm here. And then I thought, yeah, water. What looks like possibly marble, I think. And over there we've got a lot of shade. It's taken a little while for the penny to drop, so guess where I'm going now? That's right, to walk through this glade of trees. Maybe a little bit cooler. Yeah, this makes much more sense. There's a beautiful big eucalyptus tree. I've noticed a few little restaurants and cafes along here as well, but I would still rather have something closer to the hotel so I can just go straight from food to room, if you know what I mean. So we'll just keep walking up here. This park thing kind of goes parallel to the shore anyway, so we're fine. Okay, I've turned away from the shore now, heading into the old town. Yeah, the crowds are getting bigger. You can tell this is the tourist hotspot. I hope it's a calamari hotspot as well, because I am getting hungry. What time is it now? Not that I'm going on about it, but it's now 1:15. That's 11:15 UK time. I have not eaten in about too many hours. Right, let's find out some food. And welcome to the old town of Corfu. I'm not going to feature too much here because that's for tonight when it gets a little bit cooler, and tomorrow maybe. My priority at the moment is the C word. Corfu beer. Now that's what I call calamari. Well, nothing beats a good calamari, and that was a good calamari. In fact, it's so warm today, my first beer evaporated and I had to get another one just to replenish it. Okay, it's now 3 p.m, which means I can now check in, and I'm heading straight to the hotel so I can have a shower and to freshen up a bit. Yeah, the old town here is kind of full of souvenir shops, but I'll explore them later on. I just want to get to my hotel now, I think. The most common accents I'm hearing: German, followed by Italian. I just want to do a quick panorama of this area here. Loads of restaurants, loads of bars, and more importantly, my hotel. Well, checking was easy enough. Room 305, which funnily enough, when booked it says it's a semi-double room. What does that mean, a semi-double room? It's either a double room or it's not. A semi-double room? 2 single beds put together? That's a twin. I guess we're going to find out in a few moments. Right, 305. This room was £96 a night, which I thought was a bit steep, but then there's not much available with a week's notice in Corfu. So I'll give you a very, very quick guided tour as to what a semi-double room is. Okay, unless I'm mistaken, that is a double, not a twins pushed together. No, it's a double. So I don't know what a semi-double is. Got a fridge there, table, chair, We'll look at the view in a moment. This is a town view room apparently. So I wonder what kind of view we're going to get of the town. One very empty wardrobe. Hey, look, sure looks pretty good. And everything looks quite clean. So you're ready? Let's have a look at this view. I'll be brutally honest, I've had worse. This'll do. Right, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to freshen up a bit. It is now 3:20, maybe about 5-6 o'clock I might head out. Worth mentioning, down here, loads of plugs, no USBs, but hey, it's an older style room. I'm guessing this is for killing mosquitoes. At first I saw the aluminium foil and I thought maybe it's something else. But no, it's I think for killing bugs and mosquitoes. Okie dokie, the battery in my GoPro has been topped up, the battery in my phone has been topped up, and the battery in here has been kind of topped up a little bit, but it'll keep me going. I think we should go out and just go for a wander. Nothing too strenuous. It's still quite warm out there, still staying at 35 Celsius, and it's 7:15 p.m. Yeah, let's go for a walk. Vertigo, anyone? One of the grand old hotels of town. To be honest, there's like places to eat at the bottom, at the front here, and at the back. I'm at the back, and that's the noisy place. But you're right at the water's edge almost. Let's just go for a little wander here. That's where the water is. See all this traffic here. That was held up by one car. The driver was obviously lost, saw me holding a GoPro, and then promptly asked if I knew where such and such was. Do I look as if I'm a local? Yeah, this is not as picturesque as I thought it might be. It's obviously part of the harbour, but let's have a little look. This is more like it. Yeah, this part of town is definitely the marina. If you keep heading up this way, you come to the ferry terminal. There are ferries to Italy. There's a ferry to Albania, which is just on the horizon there, and there's one also to mainland Greece. Apart from that, there's no real reason to go up there. I'm just going up there to waste a bit of time. Tomorrow we're going to explore the old town of Corfu in depth. And we'll go to the old fort as well, the Venetian fort. That I'm looking forward to. In regards to food, not overly hungry because I did have my calamari, but I could still have a drink, couldn't I? A little one, you know, a nightcap. They've got one of those mad pirate ships here. Tempting though it is, I am not going to go on the pirate ship. I wonder where that ferry goes to. Yeah, I'm still not really hungry after the calamari, but I was thinking of the 2 pints of Corfu beer I had. I always fall into that trap. and especially today, for example, that was at about what, 1-2 o'clock. That was the first thing I'd eaten in about what, 10 hours, and there I am eating, drinking 4.5 alcohol beer while I'm waiting for the meal to arrive, and I could feel it hitting straight away. That happens every time. Yeah, so I'm going to walk back to, not necessarily the hotel, but that kind of area, because up here it's just ferries and ports. And look at the colour of this car. I reckon that might have been parked there for a few years. Just like that boat there, look at the colour of it. How cool would it be to have a boat like this and just go around the Mediterranean? Yes. Yeah, so not overly hungry. Probably anything, something to drink. It doesn't even necessarily have to be alcoholic. It doesn't feel like 35 degrees Celsius, but it's definitely hot, that's for sure. And it's gone 7:30. I think sunset's about 8:30, so we've still got another hour of light. Yeah, head back into town here, I think. I was just thinking though about food in Corfu. If you can't find a place to eat, you're not trying hard enough. There's food everywhere. According to Google Maps, that doesn't have a name, so I have no idea what it is. Ah, there's an information board which I walked right past. Let's have a look at that. In case you're wondering, this is the new fortress, which was built 1576 to 1578. It has got a kind of a Venetian look about it, hasn't it? One thing I have noticed so far is there's a chronic problem when it comes to a shortage of parking spaces. But then it is, I guess, a UNESCO World Heritage site, and they don't want cars parked up there. One thing I can report, no shortage of motorbikes, no shortage of calamari. And I found a supermarket as well. I might go in there later and have a poke about, you know. In hot and humid climates, it's essential to remain hydrated. Cheers. They do good beer over here, that's for sure. I'm still feeling quite tired, even though I had a couple of hours rest at the hotel. So I didn't want to venture too far. I had a beer. Believe me, I could feel like I could sleep now, that's for sure. It's 9 PM. I'm going to wander around, have a look at some of the local streets, then I'm going to head back, because tomorrow we have got a busy day. There's a supermarket coming up. I'm going to go in there and have a snoop about. Okay, let's not have a snoop about because it's closed. I think it closes at 9 and it's just gone 9:15. Oh well, there's always tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely no shortage of places to eat here, which is a good thing. Tomorrow, my hotel does not include breakfast, so I think I'll be having something to eat here before I head off and explore the old town. Where am I? How beautiful it is, Corfu Old Town. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Okie dokie, I might just head back to the hotel, have an early night because I am tired. I was hoping to get some supplies for the room from that supermarket, but being closed, That's kind of scuppered my plans a bit, and of course I can't get Wi-Fi reception here, can I? So I can't find out where the other supermarkets are. Yep, fate is telling me return back to the hotel. This hotel does have a nice dining area, although I'm not quite sure what they serve here, and a kind of a lounge area as well, which is rather cozy. Well, good morning everybody. There is nothing like a good night's sleep, and that was nothing like a good night's sleep. Yeah, the restaurants and cafes down there, I knew were going to make a noise, and they did, and they didn't actually start closing up until about 1 AM. Most of the traders had shut shop by 2. The latest, I think, was about 3. The birds started chirping at 4. I ended up with heartburn, not too soft, don't drink too late before bedtime, that's my own fault. And what else happened? Oh yes, a mosquito as well. So it all happened. And of course there's no air conditioning, the windows here are wide open. So you either have a bit of ventilation to keep the room cool, but you hear the noise as well. Ah well, I got a couple of hours sleep, that'll be enough to keep me going. Right, it is just going 10 o'clock, I know that because the cleaners have just knocked on the door accidentally. Oh, you're still in, sorry, and away they went. I know that old trick, yeah. They'll be thinking, well, that's that customer actually awake now, he'll be out shortly. I'm going to see if it's possible to drop the bag off. If it's not, I'll be carrying my backpack around with me all day. I don't fancy that because it's going to be 36 Celsius today, but if I can, that would be great. Get a breakfast. There's a place down there that I've already sussed. There's people there drinking coffee. They might do omelette, something like that. And then I'm going to go to the Old Fort. So I've got it all planned. I'll see you outside. Well, good news, I've been able to drop my bag off. They have a designated baggage room, so that's great news. I don't have to carry that around all day. And what a nice lady at the front desk as well. In fact, everyone I've met in Corfu so far has been absolutely wonderful. Right, I'm on the hunt for a breakfast. Okay, so I've checked out, that's the bag in the room, and that is me having had my breakfast. Maybe not the most healthiest of options, but one of the tastiest. I'll show you where I'm going. I'm here. Plan is just to meander and then get to the Old Fortress. That is the plan. So let's start meandering. Usually I know exactly where I am and where I'm going. It's kind of boom, boom, boom. But this time I'm just going to meander. In fact, if I get lost, fair enough, as long as I've got Wi-Fi reception, which is a bit hit and miss at the moment. I just heard some English tourists going past saying, do you know where we are? And the husband said, I think so. Yeah, you get lost in the old town of Corfu, but it's lovely. I went on to TripAdvisor and I had a look at Corfu Old Town to see what there was to do. I've got on this bit of cardboard here the top 12 attractions, and this is how they're categorized: beach, neighborhood, beach, 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 church or cathedral, beach, specialty museum, beach, ancient ruins, water park and beach. So as you can see, most of the things are beaches and most of the things are actually outside of the town centre. But there's no arguing, the old town is absolutely gorgeous. I did go for a kind of a wander last night, but you missed a lot of the detail. This is stunning. Although it's absolutely roasting. It is not even 11. It's forecast to be 36 degrees Celsius. I have my factor 50 on. I'm ready for the day ahead. I was shouted at by an old lady. I don't understand Greek, but I think she was saying no photography. The thing is, she tells you don't take photos after you've taken the photos. Usually in a high tourist area, in a church, if you're not allowed to photograph, they'll have a sign out saying no photography. And I did check that before I went in. So I was told not to take photographs after the photos were taken. But yeah, at least I took my hat off. checked online for information on Corfu Old Town and I found this description on Google AI. Being AI, it must be correct. Corfu Old Town is definitely worth visiting. It's a UNESCO World Heritage site known for its charming Venetian architecture, historical sites like the Old Fortress and vibrant atmosphere. So far so good. You can easily spend a couple of days exploring the narrow streets, enjoying local shops and cafes and soaking the unique blend of Greek and Venetian influences. Now, I don't obviously get enough Venetian influences in my life, so I'll be stocking up on those while I'm here. I don't know if I'd want to spend a couple of days here though, let's face it. I think after about 24 hours, you start to get a bit bored because most of the shops here are selling clothes and souvenirs. And of course there's cafes as well. Not sure a lot really. Google Maps has its use, but as a definitive guide as to how to get around, not very good. For example, this building here, it doesn't tell you what it is. It doesn't matter how much you zoom in, zoom out. It just shows this as a grey rectangle. It doesn't tell you what it is. But it's something important. Let's see if we can find out what it is. So there you go, Google Maps, the Palace of St. Michael and St. George. Funny how they overlooked that, isn't it? At last, a cat. A pretty mangy looking cat as well. It's estimated there's something like 35,000 stray cats. He's getting away from me. 35,000 stray cats on Corfu. Wow. This little park here is actually very appreciated because of the shade. And the cicadas in the trees as well. It's amazing how close we are to Albania. There it is on the horizon there. I'd like to go back to Albania. I've been there once before and it was a one-night stay at Tirana Airport. You don't quite get an idea of the country by doing that. But from what I saw, I think I'd have to go back. And from what I'm hearing, apparently it's wonderful. How great would it be to go for a swim down there? One slight problem. When you're a single traveller and a YouTuber, you've got a lot of equipment. It's not as if you can just leave it on the shore there and go for a dip, because when you get back it won't be there. You could leave everything in your room, but then if you're a YouTuber, you want to film the experience. So it's one of these things where you think about it, but it's not really practical. And that's where we're heading to shortly, the Old Fortress. And here we are at the Old Fortress. I believe it's actually quite interesting in there. There is an entry fee of about 10 euros, but from what I see online, it's definitely worth it. Let's do this. And the actual price to get in, 10 euros. That's pretty impressive. It's not natural. It was dug as part of the defences for the fort and acts as a moat. If this building looks kind of British, the reason for that is because it is British. It was built by the Brits back in the 1800s when they controlled Corfu. Were there any parts of the Mediterranean that the British haven't been to? They always leave their mark though. One slight oversight was the fact that I left my other hat, the one with the brim, in my backpack, which is at the hotel. I could do with it now because here there isn't a lot of shade. Okay, my plan here is to try and circumnavigate. That's a word you don't hear on YouTube every day, is it? Circumnavigate the actual fort if it's possible, and then go up there. That is one skinny cat. I know Jasper the cat's always saying, you don't feed me enough. Look, if we didn't feed you, you'd be that skinny, and you definitely are not that skinny. Well, my cunning plan of circumnavigating the peninsula and the fort has failed because of this thing. Oh well, I guess the only way is up. This reminds me of a very small version of Gibraltar. You've got your local influence, you've got the British Empire influence, and you have this big limestone rock here. Which, I mean, we're going to have to climb it, aren't we? Yep. That's a beauty, isn't it? Cast in 1684. I know my cannons. I also know, because I read that on that plaque there. Okay, let's do this. Sorry, I always have to stop to check out an old well. Ooh, lots of money down there. Yep, 36 Celsius and not a cloud in the sky, apart from one little one away over there, over Albania. These stones here are treacherous. I've seen 3 people now go almost flying, and it's always downhill, so it might be wise not to talk into a GoPro while trying to negotiate these steps. What do you reckon? Yeah. I was wondering how good it would be to be able to rebuild some of the buildings demolished during the Second World War. But then I thought there are 2 problems to that idea. One is paying for it. Greece has had its fair share of economic problems. And secondly, would that compromise its UNESCO World Heritage status? Maybe just use our imaginations, huh? Tempting though it is, I've just thought of another way to keep cool. I can think of plenty of reasons why I shouldn't be walking along here. The main one is I don't want to end up in the sea, but it's lovely here, absolutely lovely. That was actually quite interesting. Good way to spend an hour or so. But just remember, there's very little shade. Oh, it's warm up there. And apart from the Corfu Sailing Club, I think those drinks or something up here at the front, but there's nothing else inside. So I brought a bottle of water with me. It's now very lukewarm and there's about that much left. Right, speaking of water, I need to lower my core body temperature. And let me think, what's the best way of doing that? Help me out, guys. Aha, this looks promising. I decided to go somewhere else. I've always said that waiters will only see you when they're ready to see you. These guys were not ready to see anyone. Even when you go inside to try and order a beer, you're ignored. I thought, There's plenty of other places. Well, an hour later and 2 pints of Stella later, I'm ready to take on Corfu Old Town. Woof. I did actually notice they were doing omelettes back there, and I was tempted to have an omelette because that's what I wanted for breakfast this morning. I couldn't find anywhere around the hotel that did omelettes. Now I do, and I don't want to do one because it is about 2:30 p.m. In the next couple of hours I'm going to be thinking about dinner before I go to the airport. So no omelette, but I was thinking, how about another calamari? Because that calamari last night was mwah. So would it be sad to go back to the same place? I think it would, because I think you guys like to see a bit of variety. So let's go for a wander, waste some time, and then I'll start thinking about calamari again. I've stumbled across a small supermarket. Do you think I should go in and have a look for Haribo bananas? Yeah, let's do this.
Premium σειρά Elegance από την Άβα. Σκεύη με βάθος για το πιο ασφαλές και υγιεινό μαγείρεμα. Σε απίστευτες τιμές με τη Mastercard.
Well, that was definitely not a supermarket. It was more of a middle of the range market. Right, let's go wandering. So the plan of action is waste a little bit more time here in the town centre, collect my backpack, head back into the town centre for some calamari, and then head to the airport reluctantly. Loads of interesting souvenirs, but at the moment I have no bag, so I might collect my backpack at some point shortly. It's 3 o'clock, stock up on some souvenirs, and then the C word. Well guys, sadly I succumbed to the tourist shops. Yeah, no, I just saw more or less everything I wanted to get. I wanted to get a small bottle of ouzo so I could let Blair, my son, taste it for the first time. He don't know what he's in for. Also some olive oil soaps and some fridge magnets. That's all the boy needs. Okay, I'm going to get my bag now. We're then going to head back into the old town and I'm going to get some, maybe, calamari. Okay, backpack acquired. Now for the big C. Cheers everyone. I do like this mug by the way, but I don't know if I can acquire one, you know what I mean? I was in this area last night. In fact, I was just sitting over there and I had a couple of beers before I went back to the hotel, and I discovered there's no Wi-Fi reception here. Instead of being a hot spot, it's a definite cold spot when it comes to Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi. I will point out as well that over there is the supermarket I was at yesterday or last night, but it was closed. I'm going to go in there and see if I can find any Haribo bananas. I'm also requesting fried calamari. None of this grilled calamari nonsense. This is fried calamari. That ticks more boxes. Oh, this is good beer as well. That was actually very nice. Not as good as yesterday's. Yesterday's was a 10 out of 10. That's a 9 out of 10, but still a good effort. You can't really go wrong with calamari unless, of course, you buy it frozen from Lidl. I think we should go into that supermarket and see if we can find any foam bananas by Haribo. Sadly, no foam bananas. I did spot a very nice church up here. Well, this is definitely off the tourist track, this area, that's for sure. I wasn't quite sure where this flight of stairs went, but I thought let's explore and see where they go. They go here, to a fence. So it leads to the Corfu New Fortress archaeological site, which is shut. It closed about an hour ago. But there's a tunnel here. I reckon we should go down there and see where it goes. Okay, it seems to go from a quiet residential area to an even quieter residential area. I think I'll head back. So the condition which I call tunnelophilia, a love of tunnels, that was worth climbing up all these stairs. But I think we should get back to civilization because I'm now going to start heading reluctantly towards the airport. Well, I can definitely say the new part of Corfu is not as interesting as the old part of Corfu. Yeah. Airport in less than a mile in that direction. My flight tonight is with TUI, and I was thinking, I've never travelled on TUI before. I've travelled on Thomson's, who I believe became TUI or were absorbed by TUI, but I've never travelled on a TUI aircraft with TUI staff before. So this is a first. Although I like the idea of the flight number prefix still showing TOM, which is a nod to Thomson's. Right, we're just approaching the airport now, and just in time because wow, this is hot. Yep, so once I get into the terminal, which is just up here, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to wipe off the sweat residue and the factor 50, make myself a little bit more presentable, find a toilet. I'm going to change into a non-sweaty shirt and a pair of jeans, something more appropriate for travelling, and I'll take it from there. See you when we're inside the terminal. Okay, clean shirt, cleanish jeans, clean everything else, if you know what I mean. I've had a bit of a wash. I'm feeling a little bit better now. What I can tell you is there's an acute lack of seating airside at Corfu Airport. There's about a dozen seats and that's it. People are all along the floor everywhere. Right, let's get inside. I've got now 5:40, about 4 hours. I'm sure they'll let me in now. A funny thing happened in duty free. I was looking at cigarettes, not for myself but for someone else I know, and a man came up and says, where are you travelling to? I said, the UK. what city are you flying to? And I said, Glasgow. Do you know what your allowance is? And I said, 200. And he said, okay, and he walked away. I thought, I must look very suspicious. And to be honest, if I saw me, I would be on high alert as well. Never had that happen before. Nice coffee. Cruising altitude. And here we are back at Glasgow. Firstly, what did I think of TUI? Well, in actual fact, I was pretty disappointed. Nothing wrong with the staff, the seats were quite comfortable, but the amount of legroom you get is comparable to Ryanair. I thought there'd be a bit more on TUI, but obviously not. And in fact, unlike Ryanair, who don't have a seat pocket in front of you, TUI does. It's full of brochures, and my knees were almost touching the seat in front. I was a bit disappointed in the legroom. We arrived 1 hour late. It is now 1:15. I'm absolutely shattered and I need to get to my bed. So what did I think of Corfu? Absolutely lovely. I'd like to go back and explore the rest of the island, but the old town was beautiful. But it isn't good for your head. You go there, you're enjoying the food, you're enjoying the drink, you're enjoying the warm air, the vitamin D on your skin, and then suddenly after one night you're heading back to Blighty. It's not good for your head. It goes... Anyway, thanks very much for coming along. I am going to my bed now. I'll see you next time.